No matter what kind of struggle our nation is facing, music always seems to find a way to bring us together for a common cause. There's something about an anthem-driven song that becomes empowering, often motivating, and ultimately develops into something we can trust in to serve as our guidance during a dark time. Perhaps one of the most notable tunes to carry out that description is none other than Bob Dylan's "The Times They Are A-Changin'." This rebellious classic highlights the struggle of what it was like to be an American citizen during the 1960s. With the Vietnam War taking place, and nationwide protesters at large, there was really no better time to release a song that could summarize the emotion of an angry USA. Most of the song carries a warning vibe, as if Dylan's objective was to try to convey a word of caution to those in support of the war, including most parents and politicians whose opinions differed greatly from their young sons and daughters. However, the youth of America was arising. They were taking a stand back home. It was hard for parents to understand what their children were taking away from this active battle. However, a rebellion was necessary in order for their opinions to be heard. Rallied protests, gatherings, and peaceful social interactions took place nationwide, covering numerous conflicts which were shaping the nation. The war, however, wasn't the only topic that played a key factor during these ever-changing times. The civil rights movement, guided by activist Martin Luther King Jr., brought in the biggest march which ever hit the streets of Washington. 500,000 people, black and white, came together to address equality, racial discrimination, and most notably, freedom. Success was brought forth as President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Bill soon after. His presidency came about soon after the assassination of former President John F. Kennedy while visiting Dallas with his wife Jacqueline in 1963. After taking into account these life-changing events, I realized how this song could become the 60s anthem. Furthermore, I understand the importance of this composition and how it basically served as so many individuals' guidelines for what some people believed needed to happen in order to bring forth what was right in society. Change was crafting the nation, and this was something that needed to be understood. Who knew one man's composition could be so powerful and ultimately serve as a way to explain the emotion of hardships in the 1960s? In relation to that time, I think about today's society with war still going on and numerous other factors that represent a decrease in value towards our public officials and, more importantly, our country. Instead of constantly complaining about what we don't like, maybe it's our turn to reference the actions of our ancestors and speak our minds for the betterment of society. Overall, Bob Dylan's message to the public represents his understanding of how music can relay important messages to those who are willing to listen.